You feel lost, a little anxious, like something's missing. And the world has a simple, maybe almost too simple answer for you. It says go to therapy. Talk about your feelings, open up about your past. It's okay not to be okay. Therapy has become the magic pill for modern man's problems. And look, people who say this don't necessarily have bad intentions in mind, but for most of you, it's just flat out wrong. This is in order to cope with a life you don't even respect, to manage your unhappiness with a reality that is, quite frankly, weak. They're teaching you to be a good patient in a sick world. It's like putting up a band-aid on a broken leg. The whole system is based on this one idea that the problem is inside you, some flaw in your brain, a glitch in your thinking, if you will. So there you go. You talk, you pay a stranger a ton of money per hour to rent their ear, and they make you feel good about being a victim. But the reality is, you're giving away the power over your own mind. And here's the most twisted part. It works. Just enough to be dangerous. It takes the edge off and stops you from boiling over. It lets you keep tolerating a life that should be completely unacceptable to you in the first place. A life of being average. A life with no real power. A life where no one truly respects you. And before all the sensitive souls in the comment section start crying, if a doctor told you that you have a real clinical disease, this talk obviously is not for you. I wish you all the best. But for the rest of you, the 99% of guys whose only sickness is life lived on autopilot, a life built on expectations, you guys need to listen up. Because the problem is not your brain chemistry. The problem is your standards. You don't need therapy. What you need is standards. And that's it. That's the big secret they don't want you to know. Because it puts all the power and all the blame right back on you. Therapy asks, how can we make you feel okay with your crappy situation? Standards, on the other hand, ask, what situation should I go through so I feel infinitely powerful as a consequence? Do you see the difference? One is passive and the other one is active. One is coping while the other one is conquering. Your anxiety, guys, is not a disorder. It is a subconscious alarm your mind is screaming at you that you're accepting the things that are beneath you. It's your soul fighting back against the life you're just putting up with. Putting up with a body that's soft and lazy. Putting up with an income that makes you feel like a child. Putting up with people in your life who literally add no value to you whatsoever. These are not mental health problems. These are standard problems. You feel powerless because you've accepted a life where you have no power. You feel unattractive because you've let your body become unattractive. You feel broke because you've decided that being broke is okay. Guys, look, feeling bad about these things is not the problem. Feeling bad is the correct response. It is healthy. The real problem would be if you felt good about it, if you just adjusted to it and learned to cope. Your unhappiness is most valuable weapon. It's your fuel. It is the fire that makes you want more. Think about all the men you actually look up to. Not some clown on TikTok. I mean men who have actually built things. I'm talking founders, creators, conquerors, generals. When they felt doubt or pressure, did they go looking for a hug or words of affirmation? Or did they force reality to bend to their will? Marcus Aurelius wasn't booking therapy sessions because he was stressed out about fighting wars. He wrote in his journal, he checked his own thoughts and held them to a crazy high standard. Look at all the guys who build massive companies. When they were about to go bankrupt, did they talk about their feelings of failure? No. They worked even harder. They locked themselves in the office. They demanded more from themselves and their team. They did not accept the reality of failure. They created a new reality of success. I remember years ago while I was living in a very nice place and working in a bunch of tech startups that quite frankly paid me well, but made me feel kinda empty inside. And despite having it all figured out, I had that low-level anxiety all the time. The world would have said I had an anxiety issue or a burnout, but I knew that was a garbage. I had a standard issue. I was tolerating a life that was less than what I have deserved. Now, I wasn't delusional about this. When I said I know what I deserve, I wasn't talking about a lavish lifestyle. I'm talking about a fulfilling one. See, there's a huge difference between happiness and pleasure. Now, money can only buy pleasure, and pleasure does not necessarily imply happiness. Happiness comes from the intersection of two things: what you want to do and what you actually do. And the more those things are aligned, the happier you're gonna be. Now, here's another twist. Social media has conditioned us to want the wrong things. Take the lavish lifestyle, for instance. Everyone wants to enjoy the benefits of a prosperous life, but very few people, especially young people, want to take on the responsibility and pressure that comes with it. Now, even if you genuinely want to live a lavish lifestyle, and I mean, by the way, there's nothing wrong with that, the healthy way to want it is to want the responsibility and risk that comes with it first. Now, the question is, do you really want to work for 10 to 20 years for a small chance, I mean, it's not guaranteed, to be able to jump on a yacht a couple times a year? Well, you're not putting in 100 hours a week like most successful people normally do. Is it really worth it? Now, let me say this again. We need to learn to want the right thing, not just the benefit, but the work required to get the benefit. When you actually want the hard work, you can't get depressed over something you think you're supposed to have. I mean, you just have it right away. A hard work that leads to a better life. So therapy never really worked out for me. No matter how hard you try to explain yourself why you feel the way you feel, in the end, it doesn't really matter if you keep feeling the way you don't want to feel, right? So what I did instead is I wrote down my standards, or at least something I still thought my standards were at the time. So how do we actually do it? It's quite simple, but it requires you to be brutally honest with yourself, which might feel uncomfortable. So step one is the tolerance audit. Tonight, take a notebook and write down everything you're putting up with. And you gotta be brutally honest. It can be your weight, your bank account, your messy room, the friend who makes fun of you, the job that makes you feel dead inside, the girlfriend that you wish were hotter. Like, write everything down and don't feel sorry for yourself. This is a checkup. You're finding the disease, and the disease is your tolerance. Step number two is define your non-negotiables. Now, get a new page, and for each part of your life, take money, finance, women, and mind, you're going to write a new standard. Now, not a goal, but a standard. A goal is, say, I want to make X amount of money. A standard is, I will not work for less than X amount per hour. And since probably no one is willing to pay me that much, these are the skills I need to acquire to be worth that much. Let's take a look at another example. A goal is, say, I want to get in shape. A standard is, I will train at least 2 times a week, and I don't eat garbage, period. Your standards have to be a simple yes or no, something you can do and something you have control over. Step number 3 is engineer your environment. Now, willpower is a joke. It runs out. Amateurs rely on willpower. Pros, on the other hand, build a system so they don't have to. They design their world where taking right action becomes their default and only option. If you want to fix your mind, delete all social media apps from your phone that make you feel like crap. And by the way, there's literally no value in being on social media, like at all. Though don't confuse it with posting on social media to build personal brand. That's another story. Want to fix your money? The best way to do it is to invest what you have in soft skills. If you don't have any money, invest your time. There's plenty of videos out here on YouTube, and cut out all the people that do not contribute to you achieving your goals. It hurts, but trust me, it's for the best. And finally, step number 4 is prioritizing consistency over effort. This is the most important part. You're not trying to live this way. You just are this person now. You don't try to be more disciplined. You just are. And in order to achieve this, it is crucial to start with bare minimum standards. Now, I know it contradicts what I said earlier, so let me explain. The goal of a standard is to hold you accountable. Not once, not twice, not even 100 times, but always, for many years to come. And in order to play that long-term game, you cannot push yourself too hard. It's like trying to lift a barbell that's way beyond your weight. Too much pressure will only hurt you. So instead, you want to work on building consistency. For example, if you're someone that's not used to going to the gym, daily workouts are going to drain you very fast. Even if you think you can do it, start with 1 to 2 workouts per week and stick to it for at least 3 months. If it feels easy, great, you can take on additional workout. If it doesn't, stick to your previous plan until it does. Now guys, long-term consistency always trumps short-term effort. If we take the previous example, working out 2 times a week for 5 years is infinitely better than working out every day for 6 months until you get sick and skip a couple of days in the end. And that leads to skipping a couple of weeks, which leads to skipping a couple of months, and so on and so forth. And in the end, it leads to you getting back to your original shape. Always prioritize long-term consistency, even if it comes at the expense of short-term effort. Look, this is not a quick fix. This is a complete reboot of your system. It requires you to stay sharp, to pay attention. The goal of this system is to avoid having the days where you want to quit and go back to being comfortable. So your standards need to be challenging yet comfortable enough so you can keep going for decades without feeling like you're sacrificing something. If this video brought you any insights, subscribe to my YouTube channel for more stuff. Here we talk about strategies to navigate our lives in this complex world that actually work. So set your standard, make sure it's challenging but comfortable enough to keep going for years, and let's get to work.